It's Wednesday, October 10th, 2012. I'm Rim.
I'm Sky.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Gravity Falls.
Let's do this.
So, a friend of ours, Judith, now, she is a big fan of Shoujo Kakame Utena. I'm very proud that I was the one who convinced her to watch it. But lately, I think she's rewatching it because she keeps tweeting with the hashtag Ikuhara World, and it is truths from a world that Kunihiko Ikuhara would create.
Mm-hmm.
And considering it's Wednesday, I'd recommend you check out this hashtag because, I don't know, if you're the kind of person who likes Utena or shows like that and you read this stream, you'll find this hilarious. But if you're not that kind of person, I'm not even going to kind of read any of these tweets because it will mean literally nothing to you.
No. Okay, so check this out, right?
I'm checking.
When I bought I bought a new mattress when I moved up here, right? And I bought that mattress at Sleepy's because you know what? They rip you off, whatever. It's just a pain in the ass. I don't care.
I've been using the same mattress for like 12 years.
Yeah, I expect this mattress to last me a fucking long time. Anyway, but when I was at the Sleepy's, they had these pillows, and it was so nice, so very nice pillow. But they were like $60. I was like, fuck you.
That's how much a good pillow costs.
Well, I was. So hold on. So I went to I bought regular pillows for like $15, and they lasted me a long time. But now they're sort of sad. They have been squished by my head for many years, and they're just sort of like poot. So
I have a collection of terrible pillows that I give to guests.
I bought those two like $1 pillows at Kmart. Those are in the storage in the couch for the couch bed. But anyway, but they're barely used. They're not too bad. So anyway, so I went to Bed Bath & Beyond to try to get some good pillows. So I tried out all the pillows there, and they were all sort of meh, even the expensive ones. And I don't like those memory foam ones.
Well, Scott, you got to
either.
go to a boutique pillow store.
I figure Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed is the first word.
Got to focus more on the beyond.
Right, I know, right? They had the whole that store was disgusting. Anyway. So I tried out all the pillows. They all suck. Memory foam I don't like because when memory foam, see, I sleep on my side a lot mostly. So when you sleep on your side,
you crush your genitalia. How on earth do you do that?
My genitalia is not in between the legs. It is out in front.
So you like straight on your side, or you don't like cross over a little bit?
What do you mean crossover?
Like, is your waist completely straight, or is your back like twisted?
Well, my back is hunched forward in a fetal type position.
Anyway.
But anyway, it's
all I know of you from sleeping at conventions is that you're pretty much all elbows.
Pretty much the thing about sleeping on your side is you think about it, your elbow is hitting the bed, which means if you allow your head if you had no pillow, your head would sort of be like this.
That's why you get one of those pillows that has like a hump to
so
hold
you
the neck up?
So you need enough pillows to cover the distance between the end of your shoulder and the side of your head so that your head points out straight.
Well, you're a freak who claims to want to sleep on ridiculously hard mattresses and pillows anyway.
So the pillows I have are very squishy, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to sleep on an actual rock because then there's no give, and it's sort of just like your head is on a rock. It's not comfortable. What you really want, the ideal pillow for me, would be a rock so that it doesn't give, but has some sort of jelly surface. So it is squishy and comfortable for your head to be on it, but it does not move away from your head. My head is still fully 100% supported.
So why don't you get into the exact position you want on top of some device or some sort of moldable substance, make something in the shape of the correct side of your head with the ear and everything, and then get someone to cast that in iron or something?
That'd be sweet, but it'd be cold.
And then cover it in felt. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be good. But anyway, so I went on Amazon. I found the highest rated pillow is the Z-Zoned Talale latex pillow.
You touch my chalale.
Right, so it comes in 4 varieties: high loft firm, high loft plush, low loft firm, and low loft plush. So I got to assume high loft firm. That sounds exactly what I'm talking about here, right? You know, a big springy, latex thing. Now here is the most important supposed feature of this pillow. Is it has a bunch of holes in it. Look, speed holes. Look all over the place. You know why it has those speed holes?
Because it's an overpriced, ridiculous piece of crap, the likes of which you would see in one of those Brookstone-style stores in the mall?
Maybe, but maybe it's because it supposedly will allow the pillow to always be cold. It will never be warm.
I want my pillow to be warm.
What are you doing?
Why would I want my pillow to be cold?
Everyone wants cold pillow. Cold pillow is the best. No.
I cover my body in blankets to
No,
keep
it's
it warm and to keep monsters away.
No, the pillow is cold and you lay on it and then it warms up and you go and you move the pillow to
No,
go to
I
the
don't.
cold section.
I lay
and then
until
that
it gets
part heats
warm.
up, so then you move the pillow again to go to different
No,
cold
I lay
section.
there until it gets warm. Then I go,
I see the listeners are going to comment on this and going to find out that you're the freak.
I don't think anyone is going to comment on our pillow habits.
But anyway, I ordered this pillow. It costs $50, but it says the list price is $120. If it doesn't work as advertised, I'm returning that fucker so fast.
Wait, what do you mean work as advertised? Does it hold your head up?
If it's not comfortable and if it does not stay cold, I'm sending it back. But which Amazon doesn't care if you do. However, there is one thing about these latex pillows, apparently, is that they're supposed to smell not good. So
what does Amazon say? What are the reviews? The
some
reviews
of the-
like smells
some-
like a butt.
Some of the reviews say, oh my God, this thing smells so bad I had to send it back. And some of them say, it smelled a little bit, but it went away in like a day. And some of them said, yeah, it smelled a little bit. When I put a pillowcase on it, I couldn't smell it anymore.
I guess I prefer. We should do a show on beds and pillows, I think.
Have we not done that already?
I don't think we have.
Mm.
All right, well, then I'm not going to share my anecdote about what I prefer because we might do a show on that. So this weekend, this
I
coming
just want to
weekend,
say, I'm going to come back with a review of this pillow, and I just don't want it to be a review out of nowhere.
this weekend is the New York Comic Con 2012.
We
in
will
the
not
Jacob
be
Javits Center.
there at all.
Now, I point out, I've been to, with a free badge, every New York Comic Con and New York Anime Festival since 2007.
Except the first one and this one.
The first one I did not go to because it sold out and the fire marshal all but shut it down.
Yep.
Everyone after that I went to, and you know what? I hate to say this, but every year there's been less of a reason to go to the next one. And
Yeah.
as of this year, I had a press badge for free. I can get it. I had, if I wanted it, a free badge. I live 20 minutes from the convention.
Well, it's a Javits. You got to take a cab or walk. It's
I live on the 7. I can take it most of the way there.
Yeah.
I chose not to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I declined the free badge.
Got better
because
shit to
literally,
do.
well, one, I looked through the schedule. There is nothing I care about at the New York Comic Con this year.
Yeah, last year Makoto Shinkai was there with a screening.
Well,
and
he
a
was there
panel
for the New York Anime Festival that's actually
that
just
no
the New York
longer
Comic-Con.
exists at all.
I know. Now you go to the New York Comic Con website and it just says New York Comic Con.
Yeah, now there is some anime/manga content there.
Yeah, there is.
Like, I think Vertical, they brought like Miyoko Ano there, right? And some other people.
Yeah.
So it is not completely devoid of anime manga stuff. I'm
But-
sure that many dealers will still be selling things. There'll be that Gundam booth that's awesome
But
every
the
year with all
anime
the
part
robots.
that most people cared about was the silly kind of separate anime artist alley ghetto.
I do not think that is
No,
going
they
to
got
be
rid
there.
of that too. There's one
It's gone.
unified artist alley.
Yep, with all the same prices.
And yeah, I looked at the schedule. It's pretty much nothing but a small number of like special screenings, like big ones, like Hall H style stuff.
Fuck that.
Normal screenings,
Okay.
autograph sessions,
Costs money.
panels that are clearly paid for by a publisher,
Yep.
and maybe 5 or 6 other panels. There is nothing there.
Yeah, so the only reason to go to this is if A, you really, really, really want to go to a giant dealer's room to buy all sorts of comic-related shit.
That
which-
is not discounted in any way.
No, or B, well, there might be a couple.
Well, the Silver Age, Gold Age kind of like comic book bins are typical Comic Con
right.
comic bins.
There are going to be those booths, though, that have like the $5 trades if you want to stock up on unpopular Marvel titles of the 90s.
But you're not going to find like the Dominion Tank Police DVD box set for $10 like you do at an anime
Well, I mean,
con.
Sci-Fi Continuum will probably be there, but
They had a pretty weak showing last year.
they did. Their showing has been decreasing. Anyway, or two, you really, really,
Oh, hey,
really
wait. If you wanna
want
see-
to pay
if you
money to
wanna
meet a
see-
famous person that is going to be there.
If you want to see Ben Folds 5, they're doing a concert.
Great.
Really?
Or three, the Artist Alley will be pretty good. It's going to
Yeah.
be full of cool people. But
Thing
it's
is,
it's not worth the price of admission.
And what's funny, and Scott pointed out a tweet on this from one of our friends, but I realized that no one I know who isn't exhibiting is going this year, and the people I know who are going don't live in New York and are traveling for this shit.
Well, because they're traveling, because if you don't live in New York, right, you might not even have a comic shop. So, of course, if you're going to make a trip to go to a comic shop, You're going to go to a super mega temporary ultra comic shop, which is basically what the Comic-Con is.
True.
And you're going to go to the one that's closer to you. So if you're on the East Coast, you're not going to go to San Diego. You're going to go to New York or Heroes Con or something like that. If you live in New York City, you can go to Midtown Comics any day of the week. So why? And you can buy stuff. I mean, you can buy stuff online no matter where you live. But why go to New York Comic Con?
But like I remember last year was really the last straw because I go, we went every year and I always did some press coverage. We did one really big episode a long time ago, and we used to lecture at the New York Anime Festival extensively on lots of stuff. In fact, I found all these videos other people took of us running those crazy, like, 500,000 person room match games like 4 years ago.
Yeah, we did that once.
No, we did that twice. We had Peter Fernandez as a guest on that one.
That was the one time we did it, the New York Comic Con.
I think we did it twice. I have two different sets
What
of
was the
videos.
second time we did it in New York Comic Con?
I'll try to dig up my list of panels because I actually don't remember now.
I'm pretty sure we only did it in New York Comic Con once.
We
but
did it
it
at
was
Katsucon 3 times.
That's true. But I'm saying New York Comic Con, we did it once, and it was one giant room completely full. Actually, that wasn't even New York Comic Con. That was New York Anime Festival, and it was separate from New York Comic Con.
It's sad how the Anime Festival kind of just collapsed almost immediately into nothing, and now it's gone.
Because they make all their money on that thing from the fucking exhibit space sales.
What amazed
and there's
me
no
even more.
There's no big anime companies to buy giant expensive booths.
So 3 years ago, I said the New York Anime Festival is going to die, and I got a lot of hate mail from people who were like, "No, you're wrong. You're just a hater." So I hate to be right. Hate to be right. In fact, some friends of mine, I was like, last year, I was like, there's not going to be a separate New York Anime Festival Artist Alley next year. I guarantee it. No one believed me. And yeah. But what really is kind of sad is that you look at the New York Comic Con website, and at the top, it lists Read Pop, and it lists the Comic Con, and some other comics thing, and Star Wars Celebration, and PAX East, PAX Dev. And then all
PAX
these other
Oz
things.
isn't up there yet?
Nah.
Yeah, they have a UFC convention, and they have some other stuff no one cares
But
about.
the thing is, it's like we complain about conventions like Otakon, like the completely fan-run conventions, because of all the drama and just crap
unprofessionalism
that we have to deal with, which is not readily apparent to the people who go, but to people who have to deal with them on a professional level, it's just a nightmare. But at the same time, the super corporate soulless conventions like the New York Comic Con have like the exact opposite problem of I don't want to deal with them because it's so difficult to deal with them on a whole different level. It's like I don't even want to go. Somehow PAX is the only con that balances the two perfectly.
Mostly perfectly. It's better than every other con.
Yeah.
There's no question. But to be perfect, it would have to be like, there is not a single, even minor complaint that you can make because it is perfect. And that is not the case.
I can't think of something I would complain about that's actually the con's fault. That's a separate thing.
It could be anything that's any minor complaint that you have counts, makes it no longer perfect. Even one, because perfect means 100%. One minor complaint would make it 99.9%.
Would it count as a complaint if I saw something that was poorly managed, but it was something I personally did not care about and actually wish wasn't there in the first place?
Well, then your minor complaint would be that thing is there in the first place.
But it was there and failed, which actually covered me pretty well.
Right, but I mean, it covered you in that you were right that it should not be there, but it was still there, so they made a mistake in having it there.
How about perfection in the sense that as much as is practically possible, it is perfect?
No, because perfect is the unattainable. That's why. That's what
No,
the whole point. That's the whole point of perfect is that you can't. It can't be perfect. That's not perfect. It's
pragmatically perfect.
You're just trying to bullshit so you can use the word perfect. Just let the semantics go.
Perfectly.
Anyway, so
not going to the New York Comic Con.
Nope, just hanging around, getting regular old shit done, like cleaning the apartment. So check this out, right? There is in New York City, well, and a bunch of other cities, they're going in the United States, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going to be showing screenings of, I think, the current number 7 on the Japanese movie box office, which is the Madoka Magica movie, part 1 and 2.
Wanted to see that in the theater here, and in fact, I emailed Dave Riley.
I checked the
and I was
website.
like, "Hey, Dave, let's all go together and do a show on it." And then he was like, I think it's sold out.
Yeah, I checked the website a few times, and it wasn't on sale yet. And then I checked it, and it was on sale. But when I tried to actually buy the tickets, it didn't load. It said error. I came back the next day, and it wasn't there anymore. So I think it's sold out. And it was one screening in the city, and what other cities? I'm pretty sure they all sold out. So they have a bunch in L.A., more than anywhere else. But Chicago, Houston, San Francisco were the other choices.
Now, the thing is, I feel like this is really only a movie for someone like me who's already seen the show and just wants to re-experience the show. There's nothing different.
Well, yeah, I went and I looked up what the movie actually is from someone who saw it, and this is what the Madoka movie is. There's 2 of them, and basically each one is half the show. And they pretty much take the show end to end, and, I think there's some sort of increase in resolution of, display video quality, stuff like that.
I read somewhere that there was no noticeable difference.
Yeah, there's maybe like 30 seconds of added footage, and they cut out a lot of stuff. Like,
now, that review, I read the same review,
Yeah.
and I actually take issue with the review.
well, how do you know you haven't seen the movie?
No, because what was pointed out as a strength was that it removes some of the repetitive set building of the show, like how they keep bringing up what will you wish for and those sorts of things over and over again. I feel like that repetition is actually very important to what the show is doing.
Yeah. But
and the fact that they said that the fact that wasn't there was a something better about the movie compared to the show just seemed like a
well, I
poor
guess
review
what it would
case.
be is that if you're watching one episode at a time with breaks in between, there are more reminders are usually necessary for purposes like that. And when you have a movie you're watching all in one shot,
Well-
you might not need as many reminders of
Well-
certain things constantly, and they would disturb the pacing.
While you could say that, my rationale for
On
what
paper.
I've just said requires one to have seen the entire show, or else I'll spoil it for everybody.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
suffice it to say, I think I am correct in
that
my
same
assessment.
review also said that the running time of like the first half of the show is like 30 minutes longer than this movie, right? If you remove the openers and the closers and the right.
Well, you
So-
can't remove the openers and the closers. That's like rule 1 of an anime screening. You got to watch every goddamn
anyway,
opener and closer.
this is a-
first
so-
in English, and then in Romanji, and then in actual Japanese text, and then
Sure.
clean.
I'm pretty sure for convenience sake, if you don't want to, sit there and watch 13 episodes of Madoka, you can watch the 2 movies and it's pretty much the same goddamn thing, 90%. So, but I mean, it'd just be cool to watch it in the theater. I would have liked to go.
Yeah, I also
It
would've
doesn't
liked-
hurt to watch Madoka again, or again, or again.
I've only seen Madoka twice.
4 times.
But I've seen the first 8 episodes
Thinking about a 5th time.
4 or 5 times.
Thinking about a 5th time.
Thing is, I'm rewatching Cowboy Bebop right now, and I just watched with Emily the last episode before the shit goes down.
All right.
I'm,
That's the, if I remember correctly, the skyscraper episode.
no, I thought that too. There's one episode that happens after that.
What
before the shit
episode is
goes down,
that?
with the Ghost in the Shell kind of computer cult.
Don't remember that one.
Really?
I didn't remember.
Remember the scene where Spike's walking and he's in a room full of computer monitors and there's someone yelling at him from all the computer monitors, and Faye is passed out, and Ed dresses up like a girl.
Vaguely. I'm going to go rewatch.
You know what? Rewatching Cowboy Bebop again did one thing.
Can't
to me.
go wrong if it's again.
It ruined my desire to watch 99% of the anime that's coming out.
Anyway, whatever. Let us move forward.
Onward. Into things of the day. So you all know that I am a incredible fan of hockey. I'm not going to talk about the fact that there's not going to be hockey this year because I might cry, but it's okay because the Russians are coming to play hockey in New York.
Supposedly, they still haven't. It's like this weird. You read these articles that are a few months old that say it's going to happen, but I can't find tickets or schedules or anything. So
If that happens, I am going to see it no matter. It would have to cost like $1,000 for me to not go see this hockey game.
yeah, but yeah. So just so people know, the Continental Hockey League, that begins with K, is the Russian hockey league. It has.
Schleivolk.
It has. Yeah, you don't even know what that
No, I
means,
don't.
or if you're pronouncing it right.
I have no idea.
All right.
Bunch of drunk Russian men yelled it repeatedly during a hockey game when I was a little kid.
Right. So, but that is supposedly the premier hockey league in the world now because there is the best NHL players have gone there. I think Evgeny Malkin's playing there with some other people. So, yeah, there you go.
So this is a video and an article about hockey, but this is not just modern hockey. This is hockey from 1967. Hockey has
Or 68.
changed a lot, if I may. And the things that have changed are not what you would expect. And
Hockey
I realize,
or ice stick puck, if you will.
got laid that very night. So hockey's changed a lot, but the thing is, it's changed in weird ways. It wasn't that long ago. nobody wore helmets. I saw hockey games in my lifetime with people not wearing helmets.
Well, there was a time in my life where they instituted a rule that was like every new player has to wear a helmet, but anyone who was in the league before the helmet rule was instantiated is allowed to continue to not wear a helmet. And now, of course, there's nobody still in the NHL old enough to be grandfathered in and allowed to be wearing no helmets, but in my lifetime, I have seen a handful of hockey players in live hockey games in my lifetime not wearing any helmet because they were grandfathered in from before the helmet rule.
That seems obvious. No, in 1967, the goalies didn't have to wear face masks if they didn't want to.
Or anything.
So if you look at this article, you might notice that there's a goalie. He kind of looks like Frankenstein. So
he is.
He basically is Frankenstein. This goalie who played for the Red Wings a long time ago, Terry Sawchuk.
He played for every team, apparently.
Is
all 6 of them.
He has an uncountable number of scars on his face for being a maskless
I can count them.
goalie.
1, 2, 3,
4,
4
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think
a
this one
lot.
is chin 10.
Lots. I think he's 3 on the chin.
Yeah. But what about this?
How about
what
the hands?
happened to him in a hockey game that looks like it cut his
Chest,
shoulder off?
shoulders, hand.
Knees and toes. Knees and toes.
He is fucked the fuck up.
So, to make a long story short, this article talks about all the things that were different about hockey that back then and all the things that are the same. And it's actually really fascinating. A lot of people have this weird sort of idea that hockey was super different back then just because most of the footage of it that you can see today is far away and blurry and seems just really kind of slow and stupid.
That's the camera's fault.
Yeah, so this is footage like from modern hockey, just of 1967 hockey.
Well, did you see there was a controversy? This is a similar controversy. Robert Johnson, who's pretty much the, quote, inventor of blues music, you know, the guy who went down to the crossroads and such, right?
Yep.
And there were serious discussions going on of, you know, there's the Robert Johnson tapes, which is pretty much like, you know, the foundation of all blues music. You listen to, right, the only recordings of him.
Yep.
And there's controversy of, are those tapes sped up, or maybe they're actually too like? Are the songs that you hear if you go type in Robert Johnson on Amazon or Spotify or iTunes?
Oh, Scott,
are those the wrong speed because of the way it was recorded? That is a serious matter of debate.
Scott, you think that is a new thing?
I'm just saying it's similar to the hockey speed.
No. So I'm going to tell you there's a problem with there's a lot of different terms for this, but basically, how we tune orchestras has changed over the years, and the classical music people argue as to what pitches should actually sound like. Is A 440? Is it 444? Nobody knows.
4 hertz
matters.
It doesn't matter.
It matters.
If you can hear the difference, I mean, come on. You win a prize. Golden ear.
In fact, here's an entire article I'm showing you right now on pitch inflation.
Maybe this is a whole topic of, like, you know, lost history due to technological something.
Yes, it is. In 1834, the Stuttgart Conference recommended C264, also known as the A being 440 hertz, as the standard pitch.
So this is why it's good. Everything now is digital. It's 0 or it's 1, and there's no ambiguity, analog assholes. All right,
All right, so I'm going to record my audio at 1 bit per second.
Nice. Okay.
This video's amazing, even if you don't like hockey.
All right, so my thing of the day is actually comics related, right? There is apparently, I did not know this because I haven't read newspaper comic strips in a long time.
All right.
There's a newspaper comic strip called Close to Home, written by a person and drawn by a person named John McPherson, right? McPherson. And it is basically a really crappy sort of Far Side situation with the one panel with the text underneath and an illustration, right?
Yeah.
This guy who has a blog here, his name is Tom Papalardo. He is a graphic designer, illustrator, animator, typical cool person. And he is much, much smarter about graphic design and comic making than John McPherson. Now, what he did is he basically would keep reading this comic strip every day, not because he liked it, but because he hated it. It was so bad. It was awful. The composition especially was just horrendous. And the jokes were not funny. And it pissed him off so much he would collect the worst examples of this comic strip over time. Until eventually he was like, one day I'll write a blog post about how awful this comic strip is with all these examples. Until one day, one of them was so bad that he ended up writing the blog post. And here is that blog post with all these examples of these really, really bad comics. And he points out to you what's so so bad about them, and how the drawings are just awful and the jokes aren't funny. I think the line that he said, where is it? Was that the okay, because it is so poorly executed, I usually spend more time trying to comprehend what I'm looking at than I do not laughing at the punchline. And reading the comics, you completely agree with that sentence. And the worst thing is that he uses all these examples, right? This guy who writes a daily newspaper strip has reused the same jokes on different days. Like he'll write a thing, and then 2 years later he'll do the same exact comic again. He'll just draw the same thing.
Scott, I submit that there is in fact one comic in
that does that every day
that has had only one joke in his entire history.
Well, Garfield has 3 jokes. It has lasagna, kicking off the table, and John's a loser.
The Lockhorns has exactly one joke.
I hit my wife. I hit my wife. I hate my wife.
I hate my significant other.
Well, Andy
but
Capp
not enough.
At least
to divorce.
Andy Capp has the same that joke and the I'm drunk joke.
Also, I'm poor. He is poor and drunk, and he hates his wife.
Right, 3 jokes. Same as Garfield, the 3-joke standard.
But the Lockhorns, literally, it is just, I hate my significant other, but not enough to divorce them.
Well, Marmaduke also has one joke. Holy shit, that dog is big.
Or Kathy, I can't believe there are people who read this. Bam!
But anyway, no, this comic, you just made fun of a whole bunch of crappy newspaper comics. You read this. You don't even need to read this blog post to know that these are the worst.
Did you say blog post?
Yes. You don't need to read this blog post to know that this comic is the worst. The comic stands out as the worst all on its own. But when you do, you need the blog post so that you can tolerate reading the comic strips. Because the comments in the blog, along with the awful comic, make it, entertaining as opposed to making you want to hurt yourself.
You know what that's analogous to? It's like watching an angry video game nerd about a bad game.
That is exactly what this is. This is the angry comic strip nerd.
But with the Ego Raptor tilt, because while, the angry video game nerd, I love James Rolfe, but when he talked about how bad Castlevania 2 was, he made fun of it, but didn't really analyze it. But then Ego Raptor...
You're just going on that one because you are a Castlevania 2 fanboy.
No, I'm just saying, Ego Raptor also said it was a shitty game. He just made a much better argument as to why it's shitty.
Yeah, well, realize that angry video game nerd, he pays the bills with poop jokes, so he's not exactly going to go for eloquence to go along with his poop jokes.
Well, Scott, that's because he, like all men who should be men, lives like a windrammer as he fucks.
That is true. That should have been the thing of the day. Maybe it will be.
It was a thing of the newsletter.
Oh.
So, I guess that's a segue for the meta moment.
We have a newsletter. Apparently, it's much more popular than I thought.
Yeah, Scott had an apology for all you... For the one person in the world who actually has their email set to be text only.
Well, okay, so here's how it is, right? So the newsletter has like 120-something subscribers, which is not bad. And a lot of people seem to like it.
In fact, people are already like, hey, how can I get the back issues?
Yeah, I guess our super hardcore crazy fans. And the way you get the back issues is find someone who got them to forward them to you. Number 2... I suck at MailChimp, and I'm still figuring it out. So here are 2 mistakes that I have made so far. Mistake number 1, a very small mistake. The last newsletter was number 5, and the one before that was also number 5. I'm going to make the next one number 7, just to get it back on track.
Wait a minute, Scott. You know what's calling for you now?
What?
Rudicon.
Well,
I don't think there are many people left alive who know what I'm referring to.
Okay, and number 2, a much more grievous error. When you subscribe to a newsletter in MailChimp, you can choose text-only or HTML emails, which is a choice you should be able to make, right?
Now, as an aside...
Especially if you want to read the newsletter in Mutt, you don't want the HTML email. It's unreadable.
There's no reason to use Mutt anymore.
Mutt is good. Okay, so...
Dude, when I get a text email from someone, from a corporation that still has their, corporate mandated signature at the bottom, but because it's not HTML, it's all just, text. Anyway.
So, I made a mistake in MailChimp. What I was doing to send out the newsletter is I would basically just copy the previous newsletter, go in and edit it, and then send it and change the number from, 5.
I feel a little bit vindicated that I'm not the only person who does that when I'm writing, an article for something.
What else would I do? The thing is, in MailChimp, I was editing the HTML version, and I assumed that the text version would sort of inherit the changes, because the very first newsletter I sent out, it generated the text version.
Scott, you're a developer. You know better than to assume
Well,
shit.
MailChimp is actually really well done. It has a really good UI. I assumed that when the first time I wrote a newsletter on there, the text version was automatically generated from the HTML version. So I was like, oh, I don't have to actually rewrite the text version. I just rewrote the HTML one, and I assumed, without even looking, that the text one would be updated. And I would even, every time I wrote a newsletter, I would send a test email to myself, go to Gmail and look at it and to verify it. And it was always correct because it was the HTML version. So the thing is, anyone who subscribed to the text version, you actually got the same exact newsletter 6 times. And it was never updated. It's just been newsletter number 1 every single time with no changes. So I apologize to all you one persons who subscribe to the text version and doesn't have HTML email like a modern Gmail person. I will correct that for all future newsletter mailings, and that will never be a problem again.
So a few minutes ago, I uploaded the third of our 3 mini lectures from PAX Prime 2012 on the ethics of mind control. I think that actually is the last of all the videos I have from PAX Prime. Okay. So I can delete that 180 gigabyte project from my hard drive.
All right. Another thing we have started in our efforts to expand and have Geeknights in every possible internet protocol that exists, we have added an IRC channel, and I think in previous times, people have tried to start many unofficial ones, and they did not stick very well. So I was very unconfident in them. I also thought it may, sort of be, I guess, redundant with having a forum, having an IRC. It's like, what's the point of having both? What purpose does IRC serve that the forum does not serve? I don't know. But whatever. If people want to be on IRC, why not put it there? Not like it costs anything. So, Geeknights IRC now exists.
Someone said back.
Yeah, point your clients at irc.funetic.net and connect to #Geeknights.
Also, one of our listeners already made a bot that if you type Ubuntu, it just says Ubuntu.
It's going to be the Geeknights Front Recruit Inside Joke bot. There's also logs of that was the real thing is I wanted to have if I was going to do an IRC I don't like to lose anything, so I've logged the entire history of the channel and will continue to do so. You can go to Front Recruit.
So what's the logic?
You can go to frontrecruit.com/IRC/logs and read the logs.
What's the logic of that? When does it refresh?
What do you mean?
Because if I go there, it usually only shows me nothing.
Go to Front Recruit now. Click on Geeknights.
Oh, I have to click on that.
Now click on it.
No,
I have to click on something. What?
Look at all these people talking to you. Jesus.
That's it. It's basically the way the bot works. Is it's just it's a user in the IRC channel, and anytime you say something,
I have not
writes,
idled on an IRC channel in almost 15 years.
It writes down whatever you say into an HTML file that other people can read on the website, and every day it rotates to a new file. That's all there is to it.
There's a bunch of people. I guess I should, in the tradition of how IRC is used, I should log in with Perch or Merc.
You want to use IRSSI, everybody.
Real men use Perch or Merc.
No, yeah, if the year is 1999.
But I think the purpose of IRC is just to idle for as long as possible without saying anything.
I'm using Screen running on a Linode, so I'm always in there. It never leaves. I'm just permanently in there. Watch
out, you're going to accidentally hit Control D instead of Control whatever D.
I did that the other day. It's fine.
Yeah. I realized that most people cannot wrap their heads around Screen.
They should use Tmux then.
Yeah, but Screen's what they got.
Well, the Tmux is also free.
Yeah, but Screen is what's already installed on the Red Hat server.
Okay. Control A. What else you have to know?
It's quite a leap for some people.
Pressing Control and A at the same time. And then after letting go, pressing something else?
Oh, so we had a vague idea, and I just want to run this out there. We'll end the meta moment and get into our review. But
before you do this, the book club book is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It is a fantasy novel. It was New York Times bestseller. It is lauded, and a lot of people love it. So you should read it if you're a nerd.
So people have been bothering us for a long time because, we used to do a lot more Final Thoughts episodes of entire series of anime. I think Trigun was the biggest one of those we ever did. And Big O too. Big O we did a really good one for as well. In 2006.
We haven't done one in a long time because we did Evangelion, didn't we?
I think we did.
Yeah, but we haven't really finished watching. We did Madoka?
Well, I have.
We did Madoka?
I don't remember. Anyway, The one that has been the most requested is Shoujo Kakame Utena.
Well,
a show
duh.
I have seen like 4 times.
Yeah, the problem is the show is 50-something episodes, so it's not.
What? Scott, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's 52, I thought.
No.
48?
No. What number is a typical 3 partial season anime? This used to be one of our questions on Fanboy Feud in the Anime Club.
I'm pretty sure
39.
No, because there's either you're 39. I feel like I don't think it was 13, 13, 13.
It was 13, 13. It was actually more like 13, 13, 10, the end.
Anyway, it's more episodes than the usual anime.
It's 39 episodes.
And it also was never really released in a nice box set that wasn't fucked up in any way.
The previous box set was fine. The only part that was fucked up was the first season, 13 episodes, because it was put out on 2 really shittily encoded DVDs.
Also, when I started to rewatch it, the first DVD was in my Xbox that got stolen.
Yeah.
So now I guess I had to rewatch it again. And then we'll do it.
What we're thinking about doing is we'd have to rewatch Utena anyway.
Of course.
To be able to do final thoughts.
I remember only the most basic of information.
Really? I can actually quote some things that people... So anyway.
I can quote some things.
I am a feminist. Choo choo.
I can quote all of Choo Choo's lines, definitely.
No, you can't.
Oh.
So, we're thinking about doing is if we watch the show again to be able to do a deep, like detailed final thoughts, we're thinking about doing it episode by episode and making a separate show that'll just run for 39 episodes and then be done with it. So I'm asking you, very rarely will we talk about something we're gonna do until we do it.
That feels like a really long trek up a really tall staircase.
It does.
I don't know if we...
What was it?
Are you sure? I mean, I think we'll get tired before the end. Let's just.
Was it?
Let's take the elevator and. It's been there the whole time.
The gondola. So, if we made something like that, it's very rare we tell you guys about stuff like this. Would you watch it? Because if not enough of you care...
You know, anyone who's listening will say yes to anything. Hey, if I put a camera near my butt and poop, will you watch it? Yeah, they will.
So, your choices are the Scott butt poop cam or 39 episodes of us doing the RFE treatment.
That's a false dichotomy. They can have both.
That'll be the 40th episode.
Now, here's the real trick. Can they tell the difference?
All I can picture now is James Rolfe trying to describe muck spreading and failing.
I don't have a tail, sadly.
If we made some sort of mechanical tail for you.
But I wouldn't want a furry tail. I wouldn't want a furry tail.
You know, you could use...
I would want, like, some sort of lizardish devil tail.
You should use one of those little battery-operated fans that tourists use in the summer.
I don't think those can, they'll just sort of...
I think that could spread muck pretty
effectively. As soon as it hits the muck, it'll just sort of go dun and stop. The motor does not have the power.
You gotta supercharge that shit.
Then maybe it would work.
Tim the Toolman Taylor knows what to do. What does it need? More power.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move on.
So,
the actual episode.
We watched a show called Gravity Falls.
All right, so I got to give you some background on this.
Some of you might have heard of this show.
Background number 1, Rim said, hey, we should watch this Gravity Falls thing. It's popular with the pony people. So I'm like, oh, well, there's no ponies right now, so maybe I will watch this show.
Yep.
But, one mention of a thing is not enough. In fact, even when I do want to watch something, for example, that show about the peasant and the jester and the whatever.
You haven't watched that at all yet, have you?
No.
It's great.
People recommended it. I said to myself, this is a thing that I want to watch.
It's called Medieval Lives.
Keep forgetting to watch it. But there's a Gravity Falls thing. So then someone told me, I don't know who said this, it's the show with the vomiting rainbow. Now that is a JPEG I have seen on the internet, the gnome vomiting the rainbow.
Now it's worth noting at this point that when I went from My Little Pony to actually watching it was literally, I saw an animated GIF of Rainbow Dash doing something funny, and I was like, okay, I can watch that.
So it's, if someone made a JPEG of a show on the internet, that maybe there's something to this show, right? If internet people are into it. And then, of course, strike number 3 comes. I'm at my parents' house this weekend, and my mom says, hey, there's this show you should watch, Gravity Falls, and I'm like,
Now, Scott's mom actually has really good taste in
yeah.
like animation.
Really, my mom and my sister are watching this show.
And Zatoichi.
But usually it's my sister watching shows. Like my sister watches like regular shows.
Oh, wow, yeah, your sister.
With the High Five Ghost and stuff like that.
Gravity
right?
Falls is way up
But
your
my
sister's
mom
alley.
was also watching this one. So I'm like, well, if my mom is independently telling me that she watches and I should watch this show, I guess I should watch this show.
So Scott and I watched 2 episodes.
We watched 2 episodes just now.
And Emily and I have watched some other episodes beyond that. So we've seen enough of the show to realize that it's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's not pony level. It's
No.
not like I'm not like voraciously gonna go home and watch every remaining episode.
But it was telling. We finished 1 episode, and Scott was like, yeah, put the second one on.
Yeah.
And when it was done, Scott was like, you want to watch the third one? And I was like, let's do the show. I'm hungry.
Yeah. The show does have many good aspects, and I will eventually watch as much of it until I get tired of it.
So if we need to review the show, I'll just say this. It is in the same vein. If you like any of the following shows, there's a good chance you'll like this. My Little Pony, Phineas and Ferb,
I haven't watched
The Regular Show. Any of those sort of modern cartoons that are popular among kids, but also popular among people who go to the New York Comic Con.
Yeah, it's that kind of,
Homestuck people seem to like this show.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not so much Adventure Time, though.
No, but the people who like Adventure Time like Gravity Falls a lot, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's definitely in that modern cartoon style. I think we're entering, I don't want to say a golden or silver or bronze age.
There is definitely a
But it's
renaissance.
definitely not a platinum age. So I'm going to call it a marble age.
I'm going
right?
to call it
because
a
it's
renaissance.
like we got a lot of this material, and now we're really good at chiseling. We've practiced a whole lot, and some really adventurous sculptures and making some cool stuff you want to hang up in your house.
So the premise of the show is a pretty pedestrian premise. 2 kids from not the middle of nowhere are forced to live in the middle of nowhere with their horrid Uncle Stan, who appears to be Mo Sislak.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely see that these characters are all amalgamations of characters you already know, but amalgamated in sort of a good way. Like,
Well, Mabel,
yeah.
who is the main reason to watch this show, in my opinion, is basically Homer Simpson if he was an 11-year-old girl.
Well, sort of, right? So Mabel is sort of like Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab, and that
Yep.
she's the sister. She is a prominent character. She is often doing, silly nonsense sort of things and saying silly nonsense sort of things.
Beep boop.
Right? But she is also not stupid, right? And also is, she is capable and can do awesome things
She
at the same
reminds me
time.
of a season 8 or 9 Homer Simpson.
I think, I'm telling you, she's Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab, but plus like extra competence and goodness
when
and
she
not
is-
torturing her brother.
When she is like
Right?
grappling hook, that whole scene,
yeah.
that could have been Homer Simpson.
Right. Well, sort
Like,
of.
That entire scene, note for note, could have been Homer
I think
Simpson.
I think the key factor is that she's sort of got that, dumbness and silliness, but she doesn't like
Spontaneously
she is not
random and
she's not
crazy.
annoying. She's not bothering anyone. She's actually sort of helping out and doing good things.
Well, I like how she does the Elaine of punching people to express most emotions. that
Right.
sort of get
Yeah.
out.
The main character is really identifiable because he's totally a smart, normal dude.
The second episode where they're going to go get a picture of a monster, and he's like, all right, I bought 17 goddamn cameras. We're not
Yeah.
fucking this up.
And in fact, at the very beginning of the entire show, right, he's like, yeah, he's fucking evidence. It's like, yeah, you tell him. Basically, it's they go to live in these woods with their great uncle, and there's some.
I like how they call him Grunkle Stan.
Right. There's a lot of good characters otherwise living in the woods, but there's also supernatural kind of stuff going on in the woods, like,
Well, there's
Illuminati, cryptozoology.
Well, Scott pointed out there's an Evangelion kind of scene with the Illuminati logo.
Well, yeah,
like, over
the
him.
Evangelion opener shows you those rapid frames of animation to sort of that show you all this stuff. The opener has one frame where it shows you sort of like the Illuminati pyramid with arms and legs, really quickly at the end of the opener.
Well, little things too, like he finds this book that's like, oh shit, there's bullshit in this town.
Right, so that's the other thing about this show that makes me want to watch it more is that clearly there are in strong, I wouldn't even say hints, that just there is a deeper subplot overarching of the hidden evilness of the woods.
Now be
that-
careful, because X-Files also pretended to have something
I
like
was
that.
thinking the exact same fucking thing.
Remember that episode when
They find a UFO on the fucking beach. There
Yep,
it is.
Yep, and then the piece of the UFO goes flying across the room and hits the Bible and points at a verse.
Yep.
And then next episode, I'm gonna go chase this werewolf. It's like, no,
What?
there's a UFO right there.
What the
Right
fuck? And they never went
there.
back to that.
No, they went back to it in the last episode, and bullshit all disappeared at the end.
I haven't seen that episode.
I stopped watching the X-Files because of that.
I didn't see that episode.
Anyway,
Anyway.
there's like a ghost aborigine, and it's
What? In the last episode?
Yeah, you clearly stopped watching X-Files.
After when that I tell you when that episode had the werewolf, that was the last episode I watched.
I don't think it was actually a werewolf. I don't remember what
Whatever
it was.
it fucking was, that was the last episode I watched.
But like to say why I like Gravity Falls, aside from the overarching plot, then like for example, he has this book. There's a very obvious 3 on the book, and spoilers. One of the episodes Emily and I watched that you didn't see, someone else has a book with a different number on it,
dun dun dun.
and that guy has an artifact of power that he
Dun,
found because of the
dun,
book.
dun.
And
You know the shady stuff in the woods anyway. But and you see this also. They show you Grunkle is he goes down in some sort of secret passageway in his house there.
Yep, he's definitely up to something.
He's up to something, and the book says don't trust anyone, which I guess includes Grunkle. And you know what? That's how I identify with the main character even more. He's smart enough in that he only trusts the sister. He doesn't even trust the Grunkle.
I think he trusts Zeus pretty good too.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't. But he doesn't actually trust him with the book or anything like that, or knowledge of it. And he doesn't trust Grunkle either.
The show also does a good job of skipping, despite having a basically stereotypical plot and from a very high level, it skips the kinds of things that shows like this usually do when they're made. Like when he finds the book and Mabel's like, "What you looking at?" and he tries to hide it. She's like, "Yeah, like you're actually not going to show it to me."
Yeah.
And then they just skip that, and now she knows.
Yeah.
But
then it also in the same episode, it's like you'd be worried, like should we trust her? But that same episode is like, yes, you can trust her. Also, she's from out of town. It's just, don't trust anyone from Gravity Falls.
The foreshadowed and then switch up as to what the deal was with the zombie was also pretty good.
Yeah, that was very good. That caught me by surprise.
Yeah,
there were scenes in both episodes we watched where I did LOL for reals. So it is a funny show.
In the second episode, I think the moment is when the crazy old man is running around and he just like throws this guy's sandwich out of his hand for
when
no
he did
reason.
that jig. That was a great jig. And also the reference, I am betting money that was a reference to O'Doyle Rules.
Oh, that totally was.
There's that family, the red-haired family of people on that boat are 100%.
Dead.
I go to Ram and I say, you know what that family is? And he's like, O'Doyle Rules. And I'm like, that's what that is. O'Doyle Rules.
But like, there's this one scene when they're introducing.
If you're
all the
listening to
characters.
this and you don't know what O'Doyle Rules is, you suck.
That is the second best Adam Sandler movie. No. So,
O'Doyle Rules. O'Doyle Rules.
it is the second best Adam Sandler movie because I really like Punch Drunk Love, but it's a different kind of movie.
Anyway.
The best one is Happy Gilmore. There's just no.
Well, duh.
You can't even. That's one of the funniest movies.
Nobody's
ever made.
arguing about that.
That is our generation's Caddyshack.
Is there anything else you have to say about the name is kind of a funny pun, right?
Yeah.
Gravity Falls.
Also, I got to say, I really like the opening sequence, and I think it's because
I actually kind of think the opening sequence is boring, but I guess it's better than Ponies. Ponies, actually, I don't like the opening sequence.
I like the fact that the opening sequence is kind of just, it's cool and well animated.
The only thing I like
but
about
when it gets to the 2 points of Mabel, it's like, wow, I've never seen an opening to anything ever in 2-3 second scenes encapsulate everything there is to know about one character.
Yeah, I guess it does. It achieves that goal, but it's not like an opener I want to watch, right? To me, a good opener is an opener where you're like, I want to watch that.
What's the best opener to a show you've ever seen?
Ever?
Because
I'm trying to remember
to think
best anime
so
openers.
All right, let's talk just anime. I'm starting with My Heart Sky Tie as my baseline, so we got to name one better than that.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, because before you forget, la,
nah.
that alone does it.
Oh, the Pat Labor first OAV opener.
Oh, that one's pretty good. Dominion Tank Police, but I can't count that because only the dub opener.
Yeah, I mean, the Ava opener's not bad.
Ava opener's
The
really
Big
good.
O opener is not bad.
Big O, but it's not visually.
I know.
It's great, but it's great in that, yes, that is a great thing way, not great in the I'm
Gundam
watching
Seed
it.
openers are great at giving away the show.
Oh my God, they really pump you up too.
Yeah, anything that pumps you up. Initial D openers.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's got to pump me up for me to like it. That's the kind of opener I like.
Actually,
even
you
in
know
video
what?
games,
You know
I like anything that pumps you up.
Utena opener is pretty good too.
Oh, but you know what's better than the Utena opener?
But the horses.
No, you know what's better than Utena opener?
Utena movie.
Utena closer.
Oh, which one?
Missing kissing for
for
that
fun.
one.
Not the. Actually, I like the second closing more because that song is crazy.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
I really like that song, but
They're all good.
thing is
I'm just saying.
because the closing in the second part of Utena is a little like I don't know. It bothers me. Like there's something off about
That's
it.
on
but
purpose.
That's right when there's something bad going on in the show.
All right, so
Gravity Falls.
Gravity
you know
Falls.
What? You know what? Geek Nights Wednesdays animation. It's not just anime.
You didn't think you had to defend that.
So, if you are in any way a fan of animation, you know what? We're entering this renaissance of animation.
I guess, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe it's just people seeing the success of ponies and trying to go for it.
So, you know what? Watch a couple episodes of Gravity Falls. The worst case scenario, you don't like it and move on. But it's come under our baleful gaze, and you know how hard it is for anything.
Yeah. One other thing,
to come under our baleful
animation
gaze.
quality is just as high as ponies, but the opener actually uses this sort of lighting effect on the 2D
The like time lapse of the sun going across the
yeah,
shadows.
they're actually using these lighting effects, at least in the opener, and I guess sometimes during the show.
The use of color too. The
Yeah.
color in the show, especially around Mabel again, and the rainbow.
It's a little bit like a darker color set than ponies, but
it's a
just
darker
as
color
much
set.
just as much variety in the color.
It's a darker
and
color
a
set
lot of good lighting and shadows
with
everywhere.
occasionally like ridiculously juxtaposed color, like suddenly in the middle of what is otherwise a much darker palette.
Yeah, and especially the lighting, like when they were running away from that monster, had the glowing eyes. There was some really good lighting going on.
That was really good.
Right, so that sort of puts it, I guess, half a step above ponies, maybe in terms of animation quality.
And it's worth noting that we both, I mean, if nothing else, the best review I can give of any show like this is that we both laughed out loud more than once across multiple episodes.
Yep.
There are very few things in the world that are capable of making me laugh out loud like that.
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
So we'll see you next week.
This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.